So the idea to do this dates all the way back to Tuesday. I was recapping some of the things that happened during the course of the day. And the phrase, "what's new BSU," popped into my head. The next morning, I talked to Rachel and Carissa to see what they thought about that idea. And now here we are 2 days later, and for the first time ever, I am hosting a web show. I admit that I've got a good plan for today, but I don't really know what the show is going to look like beyond today. I'm hoping that after everybody gets a chance to see this, that you'll help me decide what its future is going to be. What I do know is that for the last 2 weeks, every single day, I've heard stories about the amazing work that all of you and all of your colleagues and everybody else across BSU are doing on our campus, for the campus, for our students, for everyone. That amazing work continues to be done today. It's going to keep getting done over the next few weeks as we continue to fight through this COVID-19 nonsense. Most people that you listen to will tell you that Bemidji State is a remarkable place with remarkable people. And what's happening right now all around us is proof of that. So my idea for this show was simply to create an opportunity for all of us to hear some of the stories of the things that are being done, and hopefully have people who are doing all this work on to talk to you directly about it. So I'm going to try a 30-minute experiment this morning, and as you've already seen, it is not going to be perfect, but we're going to see how it goes. What I do hope it will be is fun, and I hope that you learned something today about your colleagues that you didn't know before. Because really, here's the thing. Given what we're all going through right now, getting to know each other is more important than it's ever been. It's going to be hard to meet people, and it's going to be hard for all of us to keep in touch with our friends. We can't pass each other in the hall. We can't make plans to eat at Eco Grounds. We can't have lunch at Wally's. We can't pop into the office to say, hey, when you happen to be in the building. Really, all of us are in this thing together, and that's the main message I hope to get across to all of you who have taken time out of your mornings to join me here. For the next half hour, let's have some fun and forget about how hard the last couple of weeks have been. But it's true, GMWs in the union, RAs in Tamarack, professors in Memorial, the president, all of us, we're all in this together. I wanted to give a special shout out to the guests and contributors that you'll be seeing and hearing from today. Dee Dee Narum in the library, Bob Strand in admissions, John PERLICH in communication studies. Thanks to all of you for agreeing to help out with this first show on pretty short notice. They had no idea what they were getting into when I asked them to help, and I really didn't have a good picture of what I was even asking them for. So the fact that we pulled this together at all in 2 days is kind of awesome. So thanks to all of you who helped me out. Okay, so whether you're watching this live with me right now, or whether you're watching this on a replay later, let's have some fun. Our first segment this morning is called Meet My Pet.
Hi everyone, I wanted to introduce you to Porter, the new special assistant to the Associate Director of Admissions at BSU. Some of you may have missed the fact staff, but Porter just joined us this week. He's a 2-year-old German Shorthair Pointer. His previous experience is not related to admissions, but we thought we would give him a try. He seemed pretty ambitious. Day 1, he learned a lot about WordPress and the Hobson's Connect CRM. Day 2, he continually brought a toy goose to me. Not sure how that applies to the position. Day 3, he filled in on the all-campus Zoom meeting, headset and all. Day 4, he had a run-in with his first human resources complaint. So I had him sit down and write an apology email to the staff and human resources. But notice, this guy's not very organized. Look at how many documents he saves on his desktop, and he clearly has some issues here without opposable thumbs. He has a hard time writing emails, but there's no excuse for not using spell check. He spelled apology wrong in the subject line. So we decided for a performance improvement plan, we were going to introduce some exercise on our work from home lunch breaks. As you can see, he is a sustained 34 kilometers per hour running across Lake Bemidji. Tired him out pretty good, so now he just stays at home and keeps my office warm. It really makes it feel like a home. I'm so glad to have introduced you to our new employee.
All right, so thanks so much to Bob Strand for putting that together. I was following, Bob and I are friends on Facebook, and I was following his posts about Porter, and I knew that his story would be perfect for what we were trying to do with this show. And also, Bob might be funnier than me, so I want to make sure that he doesn't take my job as host. So I don't know if any of you have noticed, but we're all spending a lot of time in our houses right now. I've been sitting at the same table in the corner of my living room for 8 days now. And it got me thinking how the all right, I might have to find a way to do this in the future, not on Wi-Fi.
There was a suggestion for participants to turn off their videos. That might make it a little bit less heavy, Andy.
Well, and I'm getting a
Great, I see some of you already doing that.
Yeah, I'm getting a message on my side that my internet is unstable too, so we will see.
Okay.
Let's see. I don't think I have an option to turn video off for everybody that's in this, like I did with the webinar last week. Okay.
Everyone has done it. Look at that. Nicely done.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. So
Perfect.
let's do visit my workspace. That's the next thing that we've got coming up here. This is Dee Dee Narum from the library, so thanks to her for sharing this with us. Oh, this is super annoying. We're going to skip ahead a little bit. All right, so thanks Dee Dee in the library for letting us take a look inside her kitchen. Up next, and I hope we have better luck with this than we have for the last couple of segments, it's our main event for the debut episode of What's New BSU. Our first live guest on the show is new here at BSU this year. I met him in the fall to talk about virtual reality. And before too long, we were sharing theories about Rey's parentage in Star Wars, which J.J. Abrams would completely throw out the window a couple of months later, but the conversations were still fun. But that's a topic for a whole other show. We traded some email a week or so ago, and he talked to me a little bit about the ways that he's been working with his students to make sure they're ready for the uncertainty that a lot of them face when classes start again on Monday. That immediately seemed like a great topic for this show. And after talking to a few other people on campus, I learned that the work that he has done is part of a larger initiative that started on campus with his colleague, Donna Pulowski, and a few others. So let's meet John PERLICH and learn a little bit more about what John is doing. So John, good morning.
Good morning, Andy.
All right, so why don't you give us a little bit of a recap about what you have been doing to communicate with your students and make sure they're prepared for online classes next week.
Sure. Well, Thanks for having me on, Andy. Like I said, some people might not have been in here, but if you've watched the old Letterman show, I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to be one of those top list celebrity guests like a Ryan Reynolds, or if I'm Regis Philbin from David Letterman. I think he was on 136 times, so maybe I'm your go-to guy at some point, maybe not, but it's great to be here. You've done some amazing work. The tech, what I love about what we're doing right now is we're going to find out from what you're doing how some of our larger classes can handle the tech. So thanks a million times over for what you're doing here today. So you already gave a shout out to Donna Pulowski, and I'm also working with Cindy Nelson, Colleen Rear, Richa Amakar, Lucas Schroet. I'm lucky to work with a great department, and so some of my ideas, I've got to give a shout out back to them. But when we found out that we were going to have to be teaching online and be virtual from this point forward, the first thing that we started doing is not only comparing notes, but collecting data. And I think one of the reasons why people were talking about my classes and my work was simply I had to figure out what our students had access to, what they could and couldn't do. And so I created just a real quick form survey to find out what kind of things they had access to. And in doing so, I found out, I mean, there was some good news and some bad news. The great news in terms of being able to facilitate my classes, I had about an 80% response rate on this survey, and every single student that responded indicated that they have a cell phone. And so I knew that the platform that I was going to use for delivering all my courses would have to be fairly friendly for cell phone technology. The bad news, and it's funny, any professor who's watching this right now will smile as I say this. I had about 13% of my students who were willing to admit they didn't have access to their textbook. Now, why they don't have access to the textbook, we could kind of dissect that if we wanted to. Is it they didn't ever buy it? Is it that it's still left in the dorms? Didn't really matter to me. It was that we had a group of students who admitted they didn't have a textbook. And then the survey also helped indicate who had computer access, who had internet Wi-Fi access. So I did basically started with just collecting a lot of great data. And then from there I started building. So.
All right, I just had to go through and mute everybody real quick, and I think that muted us too.
Sure.
So you were talking about the trying to move forward from having your students, the 13% of your students that didn't have access to their textbooks.
Yep, and so I'm not sure how much was muted, but basically after collecting all that data, finding out who has access to a computer, how many have access to consistent Wi-Fi, textbooks, all of that, I started making choices about how I deliver my curriculum from that point forward. But really, the first thing I did was just grab as much information as I could, really simple questions, but kind of the most important stuff that I needed to know if I was going to deliver my curriculum as well as I hoped.
All right, so what was your students' reaction to learning that they were going to have to undergo this kind of change in the way that their courses were being delivered? In the effort to try and get prepared, did you have any opportunity to just get some feedback from your students about how they were feeling and how they were responding to all this?
You bet. The last question I had on that survey that I put out asked them how they're doing. And the responses ranged from "I'm doing great" to the last response being "not too well, but thanks for asking." And I kind of intentionally left that last question a little bit more optimistic. I didn't want to just ask, is your life a disaster? But the good news is, in using forms as a platform, some of the students, if they were in Office 365, they were identified. So I was able to individually reach out to those students and just, extend a hand and say, if there's anything I can do, let me know. If you just kind of want to vent, let me know. But I was really, really excited about the fact that only 4 of the 75 respondents that I've had so far selected that option. And it was really heartening to see how many students had said they were doing okay. They were making it through this as well as could be expected. So.
Good. What was your reaction when you found out that classes were going to move online? We've talked a lot about students, but we haven't talked a lot about how our faculty are responding to this.
Yeah, I don't want to go quite as far as terrified, but I mean, I've had this for a very, very, very long time, and I've not delivered my curriculum in online platform before. And I am just purely by luck. I took an online class this fall, and it was 8 weeks, and it was basically online, how to teach online. And if I hadn't had that experience, it would have been, I think I would have gone to that word potentially terrifying. But for right now, it was a little unsettling. And I just had to get as much information about doing this stuff as I possibly could. Like I said, thankfully, I've got some amazing colleagues. We've been doing test runs of stuff together. But, you know, I really, after learning about this stuff, I think what I'm going to probably do as I deliver curriculum this way is just own mistakes. I think back to my very first year of teaching and walking out of the classroom when I was done and having really good moments where I was like, that went super well. But I also remember in that first year, some classes I'd walk out of going, what did I just do? Why did I do that way? Why did I say that way? And I think this is going to basically be just like that first year of teaching was. And there were awesome things that happened, but there were a lot of things that I learned from, and I'm kind of prepared to just walk in and embrace those.
Have faculty been talking amongst themselves about best practices or pitfalls for those of you who have done online teaching before that you have learned to avoid, tips and tricks that you can pick up on from each other? It's just how are the faculty kind of talking amongst themselves about how to enter this new reality on Monday?
Right. Well, I think every group of faculty is probably having very discipline specific conversations. So in other words, the way that I teach communication studies and communication, especially speaking courses, will be different than what other folks in other disciplines are going to have to do. Some of us face a lot of challenges, like how do I evaluate students in terms of nonverbal delivery, vocal delivery, when what we're doing is we're watching them through a video cam that's not going to capture anything accurately. I mean, right now what I'm dealing with is I know I've got a heck of a glare from my glasses. How do I evaluate someone's ability to make really strong and immediate eye contact? That's a disciplinary thing. And so in my group, we're having those kind of conversations. How is it that we do the best that we can with this kind of medium? But also in Facebook, I've got a lot of different colleagues and former students that I've known throughout the years that I'm connecting with. And so we're having conversations like, what is the benefit of doing synchronous versus asynchronous? If you haven't heard, I'm guessing everybody in the room right now has heard that before, but the benefit of synchronous is that we can all try to connect. We can all have that sort of shared connection that you were talking about, Andy, that ability for us to replace bumping into each other in the hallway, having coffee at Eco Grounds with something like this. But we can already see what the tech drain might be and what implications there are for tech to go awry if we're relying heavily on synchronous. So I've got a colleague who's at University of Wisconsin-Madison, a friend of mine, who he and I are probably going to approach this the same way. We're going to try synchronous. We're going to let Zoom record what we're doing with our students. The ones who get bumped out, kicked out, drop signal, or can't make it, they're going to have the opportunity to see what we were doing, what we were talking about. And hopefully that's going to be the best way for us to just navigate this in the first semester, hopefully only semester that we have to do this.
All right, great. So what's your first class on Monday? When are you planning on meeting with them?
I have, like I said, the most amazing colleague on the planet, Donna Pulowski. She gave me the Tuesday, Thursday schedule this semester. So she
got a nice little
is
bump.
taking on the Monday, Wednesday, Friday classes. And so I'll have the opportunity to learn from her how things went on Monday. My first classes are going to be on Tuesday. I have one at 8 a.m., I have one at 11, and I have one at 2 o'clock. What's been great is I've sent out a lot of different correspondence with students just to prep us. They are accepting the invitation already for the Zoom meeting we're going to try at 8 a.m. and we'll see how many students we get. And if I don't get a ton, we'll continue to adapt. But I honestly think what's going to happen, and like I said, you alluded to it, Andy, this social distancing and this isolation thing, I think is going to actually encourage students, if not push them to want to join these kind of opportunities, just to connect with other people. Maybe we don't see that in the first week of our classes, but at some point in the next month or so, they're going to be looking for opportunities to reconnect with all these amazing people. The folks who have signed in to join you today, I think, indicate that.
Yeah, I don't remember who I was talking to, somebody in the last couple of days, and I had just mentioned to them that since we started working from home on Tuesday of last week, I don't think I've been out of my house for more than an hour at a time. And part of that's just because the cabinet has been working a ton over the last week and a half. But, you know, part of that is just concerted efforts and decisions to stay at home. So the opportunity to do something like this and to just see and hear from some familiar faces is fantastic. So that's all the time that we've got to talk to you. John, thank you so much for agreeing to do this and for joining us this morning. I know that when your class rolls around at 8 o'clock on Tuesday that it's going to be awesome. So thanks for coming this morning, and thanks for sharing with us what you're doing to get ready for next week.
Sure. Thanks, Andy.
All right. You're a brave soul
Thank
for
you,
doing
John.
this. All right, so now we've met one of our pets. We've taken a tour of a home workspace. We've learned how a member of our faculty is working to adjust his classes to the new realities that COVID-19 have brought to us. And so there's really one more thing only for us to cover, and that's what we're binging on Netflix. So Megan Zothman, Campus Human Resources Officer, told me that she is binging The Tiger King on Netflix. And I have heard of the show, but I will admit that I have not started watching it yet. I have been watching Little Fires Everywhere on Hulu, which is very, very good. And I'm about halfway through the first season of Lock and Key on Netflix. But I haven't quite gone to Tiger King yet. So thanks to Megan for sharing this with us. So now for the last segment of this debut episode, since I asked other people to help me out, I figured that it was only fair that I give you a look at where I've been working since last week. So here is another Visit My Workspace segment featuring me.
Oh no. We lost you, Andy.
Yeah, I'm wondering
Okay.
if I need to do more compressed videos too. That if my internet connection is getting.
People are really upset in the chat.
Yeah.
They were really excited about watching that.
They're not more upset than I am. This is ridiculous. All right, let's try again. The video might start over, so you're gonna have to see me having not shaved for a week again.
That's okay. There's no sound.
No sound. I think I can fix that.
Okay.
Share. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Since I have
We are going to
and
skip it here.
also my chair from work, which I've brought home, which for the last 2 days has been an absolute lifesaver. That I found was the most difficult thing about working from home was not having a good chair. So I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be able to bring my chair from work because I really like this, and over the last 2 days it's helped me a lot. So this is my workspace. I've been sitting here for about 8 days now, and I know we're all kind of in the same boat. So I'm really curious to see where the rest of you are spending your days and getting things done.
Okay, so that's the bulk of our first show. I want to thank everybody again who took time to join me this morning. I'm really excited. We got up to about 114 participants at one point there, which is amazing. So I'd like to keep this going and figure out some different ways on my end to make sure that we're not having the crashes and stuff like that. But I would like to keep doing this, and to do it, I'm going to need content. So send me videos, send me pictures, send me stories. I want to know what your days are like. I want to know what you're doing to help students. I want to know how you're finding ways to enjoy your days during this coronavirus craziness. But most of all, I want us to all remember what I said at the beginning. We are all really in this together. Our students and our employees are going to stay safe, healthy, and well. Our students will complete their semesters, and we are one Bemidji State. So thank you so much again for joining me. I'm Andy Bartlett, Executive Director of Communications and Marketing, and I will hopefully see you again next week. Same Beaver time, same Beaver channel. Goodbye, everybody.